Mm-mm-mm-mm. Let's go. Let's get it. Welcome to CNN. I'm your host, Kirk Kennedy, the underdog. Let's go win on this channel. We take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Mm-mm. Let's get it. One of my favorite movies of all time, is Nacho Libre. I couldn't believe it. You know, the same people that made Napoleon Dynamite made Nacho Libre. But I wasn't with Napoleon at first. I had to watch Nacho Libre to get the humor, and then I could watch Napoleon. I couldn't do it. Well, here's the thing that's interesting. In this movie, Nacho Libre, there is a scene where uh, uh, Nacho is confronting his Latino partner, his wrestling partner, and his partner says he's in an orphanage, and he says, and he works for this Catholic orphanage, and his partner says, "I don't believe in God, I believe in science." And that was a joint, and that joint was funny. It was a funny joint, right? And then towards the end, he said he liked the kids or whatever. All right, don't believe in God, I believe in science. A ton of people feel this way, right? I did a video not too long ago called 10 Reasons Why I'm a Christian, not an atheist. And atheists came out the woodwork. They was in the comment section and all that. So I was thinking about this the other day and thought, you know what? Let's have this conversation. Let's talk about science versus Christianity, because a lot of people have a lot to say about Christianity. Your God doesn't do this. Your God, religion's all this and all this, right? And all the religions get lumped up into one, and Christianity is blamed. So let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. All right, let's look at science. We're going to look at sciences. We're going to look at the last 200 years or so, and let's look at some of science's greatest hits and misses. All right. Now, these are all the people that do not believe in religion because, for whatever reason, whether God is vindictive, the Bible is misogynistic, all these things, and they put a lot of confidence. Everyone stands by science. Let's take a look at science's greatest hits or misses. Just a few. Now, let me say this real quick. I like science. I have no problem with science. I do have a problem with scientism, which is actually, most people don't realize that that's the religion. When they're like, no, I don't believe in God, but I trust science. I trust science. I trust evidence. Okay, cool. That's scientism. I have a problem with scientism, but not science. I think science is amazing. And as a Christian, I think science is the way God reveals how he does things, right? I think God's providence is displayed through science. But what do I know? Let's talk about science for a second. Let's look at some of the greatest hits of the last 200 or plus years or so years, all right? Let's start off. Remember phrenology. Remember this, phrenology. Remember this? Remember phrenology. You know what this was, right? Let's go here and remember this, right? Let's go back. Oh, we're not ready for that. Let's go up here. Let's do this. Remember this, phrenology. This is when they taught, science taught that the skull is the true index of the mind. Franz Joseph Gall was the founder of this scientific discovery. And he said personality, intelligence, and criminal tendencies determined by skull bumps. So if you saw the movie Django, there was a point where Leonardo DiCaprio, I forgot his name in the movie, he had a skull of an African slave, and he broke the back of it open and pointed to these two bumps that were in the back, basically saying that black people were destined to be slaves and so forth. And this was called phrenology, right? This was published in medical journals, taught in medical schools, and used in murder trials. Here's the reality. It was complete nonsense based on zero actual correlation. And you can find this, you can read this in The Folds of the Brain by Stephen Tomlinson in 2005. Oh, we're just getting started. We're just getting started, science fans. And again, don't get me wrong. Remember this? In the mid-1800s, remember this part right here? This is hand washing. Remember this? Childbed fever is caused by atmospheric cosmic telluric influence, the medical consensus of the day. The evidence, Dr. Semmelweis reduced mortality from 18% to 2% with hand washing, right? So they had this thing. Here's why childbed fever is happening, this atmospheric cosmic telluric influence. And this Dr. Semmelweis reduced infant mortality from 18 to 2% just by washing hands. Vienna Medical Society rejected his findings. Colleagues ostracized him, right? They ostracized him, said, you're crazy. There's no way it's just washing hands. Semmelweis died in an asylum, and thousands of women died unnecessarily. Pasteur proved germ theory 20 years later that he was right. 20 years later, after they took away his livelihood, 20 years later, it was proven that he was right. It was germs that were causing children to die. The Doctor of Discontent by Sherwin Nuland has this in his book. Oh, we're just getting started. This is nothing. Let's get it. Let's go. Science's greatest hits and misses. Oh, should we even go to this one? Should we go to this one? Radium, the wonder drug. Remember that? 1900s to 1930s. Radium water worked fine until his jaw came off. Wall Street Journal, 1932. The product, Radiothor, radium water, radioactive toothpaste, radium cosmetics. The promise, cures arthritis, impotence, and fatigue, completely safe. The reality, Eben Byers and thousands of radium girls died from radiation poisoning. You can read this in the source, The Radium Girls by Kate Moore, wrote it in 2017. Oh, remember eugenics? Remember eugenics? 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes said in 1927. Here was the science. Certain races, right? Certain races, scientifically proven inferior through data and statistics. Here was the implementation. 65,000 Americans were forcibly sterilized. It was taught at Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. Guess what the inspiration was? Hitler's eugenics laws directly modeled American research. Here's the truth. It was pure racism dressed up in lab coats and statistics. The source, War Against the Weak by Edwin Black. No pun intended. Oh, I love science, but science is wild. Oh, let's talk about this one. Remember this one. Lobotomies. Let's talk lobotomies. Remember this? This is all 20th century. The operation is safe and simple. Walter Freeman, 1942. The procedure, to take an ice pick, an actual ice pick. This was science. Take an ice pick through the eye socket to scramble brain tissue. The purpose was to cure mental illness, depression, and unruly children. So science taught if you take an ice pick, stick it in someone's eye, and scrape the brain, it would cure mental illness, depression, and unruly children. It was the recognition. Antonio Egas Moniz won the 1949 Nobel Prize for this breakthrough. Here's the reality. 40,000 Americans were permanently brain damaged by this. You can read it in a book called The Lobotomist by Jack Elhai. Think about this. He got a Nobel Peace Prize for lobotomies, and 40,000 Americans were permanently brain damaged. Whew. I don't know. Remember this one? Cigarettes. Remember when cigarettes first came out? More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. You know, R.J. Reynolds, it was an ad campaign. Here was the marketing. Cigarettes promoted for digestion, weight control, even asthma. The publication's Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, carried tobacco ads from 1933 to 1953. And here was the claim that smoking is harmless up to 24 cigarettes per day. The New York State Journal of Medicine in 1938 said. Here was the cost: millions of deaths from scientifically endorsed smoking. I don't like religion. I trust science. Okay. All right. Now, I think science is a cool thing. I think science is cool. Y'all remember the DDT? Remember that? Not the wrestling move that Jake the Snake used to do, but this DDT. Remember this? I'm skipping through a lot. DDT, the miracle pesticide. Remember this? 1940s to the 70s. DDT is safe enough to eat like salt. Time magazine said in 1947. The honor Paul Mueller won 1948 Nobel Prize for discovering DDT's insecticidal properties. But 1947 and 1948 was some crazy times in science. The people won the Nobel Peace Prize for killing folks, right? The practice sprayed directly on children at summer camps for safety. DDT. The promise, it would end malaria, save crops, completely harmless to humans. The reality, nearly wiped out bald eagles found in breast milk linked to cancer. Linked to cancer. You can read that in Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, 1962. Listen, I like science. I think science is important. But the problem is that people say, oh, I trust science, I don't trust religion. You trust something that it has a long track record of being wrong too. And I'm saying too, not because I think religion, Christianity is wrong, but because people think it is. I'm going with what they're saying. Remember this, 1970s, the climate flip-flop? Isn't it interesting that we got global warming, but in the 70s, they got global frozen. The coming age, the facts have emerged. We are heading for another ice age. Newsweek, April 28th, 1975. Time Magazine, Newsweek, and scientific publications warned of global cooling. Some propose melting Arctic ice with nuclear weapons. The certainty based on temperature data and climate models, the reversal. Same institutions later promoted global warming with equal certainty. The irony, some scientists warned of both cooling and warming in the same decade. I don't know. I'm not sure what to think about this. This is what I remember hearing about. Remember ulcers? Ulcers. This is what everyone was against me, but I knew I was right, said Barry Marshall. Here's the consensus for ulcers. Stress, spicy food, lifestyle cause stomach ulcers. Here's the treatment. Antacids, bland diet, stress management. The discovery. Barry Marshall found H. pylori bacteria causes most ulcers in 1982. The rejection. Medical establishment dismissed bacterial theory for years. Dismissed it. Said it was spicy foods, lifestyle, so forth. He found it with antibiotics. Marshall infected himself with bacteria, developed ulcers, and cured them with antibiotics. The recognition, Marshall won the 2005 Nobel Prize 23 years after this discovery. I believe in science. Man, listen, I could go on for days. We're not even going to talk about, remember Y2K? Remember this? Y2K computer, this will be Y2K will be this generation's civil war. James Adam, infrastructure expert. Computer systems worldwide will crash at midnight 2000. Preparation, U.S. government spent $100+ billion preparing for the disaster. The coverage, 24/7 media countdown, expert warnings of planes falling from the sky. The reality, virtually nothing happened anywhere in the world. The cost, billions. Wasted. Public trust and expert predictions damaged. This is it. Every single generation of scientists has been spectacularly wrong about major issues, yet every generation acts like they finally figured everything out. Here's the common threads. Consensus doesn't equal truth. Credentials don't guarantee correctness. Peer review doesn't prevent massive errors. Settled science often isn't settled. Experts resist evidence that challenge their theories. The devastating question is this. If scientists have been wrong about medicine, physics, geology, chemistry, and technology, things they can actually measure and test, why should we automatically trust their pronouncements about God, consciousness, the meaning of life, or ultimate reality? Do you see what I'm saying? If someone who has proven to test things and say this is what it is totally wrong, then why would we trust them about more sacred things like who is there a God, about consciousness, about the meaning of life, about the afterlife, about all these things? No bueno. here's the reality. I bang with science. I think science is good. I think science is of the Lord. I think science is the mechanism in which God works things out. I have no issue with science. I have an issue with scientism. And scientism are people who swear up and down that religion is the problem, but science is the solution. And I just think these are just a couple examples that I just gave. I didn't even go as hard as I could. We didn't even talk about like the fact that, remember, Pluto was a planet. At one point, we had 9 planets in our solar system. And for the longest time, I thought that. And then all of a sudden now it's like, actually, that's not really a planet. It's something else. So now there's 8 planets in our solar system. The hits keep coming. Look, this isn't an attack on science per se. It's a pushback that says, listen, you can attack. There's a lot of reasons why people don't believe in Christianity. I get it. But let's not act like that the solutions that other people believe in offer or have a better track record. Woo. But what do I know? I'm getting ready to go on the cruise with my sons and go enjoy my sabbatical. I just felt like making a quick video before I finish packing. Appreciate y'all. Grace and peace. See you next video.